Hello there, my name is James Ponak and I want to welcome you to my channel, Deeper with God. If you like this video, please press like, and if you want to join a community of people growing deeper with God, please consider subscribing. And hey, if this video encourages you, why don't you share it with somebody else so they can be encouraged as well. This past week of my life, I was thinking about failure, my failure. Have you ever been confronted with a week like that? How about this? Have you ever been slapped in the face with your failure so you couldn't ignore it? Yeah, well, that's the kind of week I had. So I decided to encourage myself in the Lord. Well, I put on a podcast from Pastor Robert Morris of Gateway Church in Texas, and he was preaching about the purpose test. And in his message, he talked about a man usually associated with greatness and historical impact, and he talked about this man's failures. And I can't say it was refreshing, it was arresting, because I realized I never think about this man's failure, I just think about him being a success. But you know, he was raised in poverty, he was self-educated, and then he became a lawyer. You won't think of him as a lawyer, most likely. And then he stepped into business where that might have not been the greatest fit for him. Eventually, he found himself in the political arena where he is well known to this very day. Let me just show you that when he stepped in the political arena, I have this chart that shows his failures. Maybe not all of them, but quite a few. Let's read it together. First of all, he lost his job. He was defeated for state legislature, failed in business, his sweetheart died, that's a hard one to overcome, had a nervous breakdown, some people don't recover from that, but he did, defeated for speaker, defeated for nomination for Congress, lost renomination, rejected for land officer, defeated for U.S. Senate, defeated for nomination for vice president, and again defeated for U.S. Senate. But in 1860, at the age of 52, Abraham Lincoln became the President of the United States of America. Wow. Now that alone right there is a great story, isn't it? A man who keeps getting up after being defeated time and time again. He overcomes heartache. He overcomes health issues to become the President of the United States. Well, that is a great story. But you know, there is a bigger picture here. You see, Abraham Lincoln couldn't have planned the fact that he became the president at a time when the United States was not united. In fact, there was a civil war between the North and the South. And not only that, there was slavery that was going on in the United States because it was acceptable. And Abraham Lincoln was instrumental in uniting the North and the South so they could truly be the United States of America. Not only that, he was used in the abolition of slavery. Wow. Now that is incredible. Talk about a historical intersection of his life with these incredible moments in the history of the United States. Well, we can't plan these things, but you know what? God can. And it's so important that we keep getting up from failure because we do not know what lies ahead of us. There are things that we cannot plan. There's things that we cannot see, but God plans things and God sees these things and God prepares us for things that we don't even know are coming. It's amazing how that works. I am doing this video today to encourage you to get back up. Now, maybe it's not even your own personal failure that has knocked you down. Maybe it's the failure of somebody else in your life. Maybe it's the hurts that people have given you. Maybe it's an injury. Maybe it's a health issue. But maybe there's something that wants to keep you down. But God is saying, through me today, get back up. You need to learn to overcome failure. And how do we do that? We give God those heavy things because we can't carry them. We cannot carry them. They're too great. And we lay them down and we get back up. And one of the things we need to have is a vision for our lives. Now, oftentimes when we think of the vision for our lives, we focus on one thing, like this major thing like becoming the President of the United States, or in my case, the Prime Minister of Canada, because I'm Canadian. We think about doing this great job or having this great career or this divine calling. But you know, I want to suggest to you that your life is a collection of moments. And sure, some of those moments will include failure. But those moments will also include moments like this. I was working at a kids camp, and I'd never really grieved over a loved one because I was so young when my grandparents passed away. And so here I am at this camp, and this young person, this kid, gets a phone call from home, finds out that somebody very special to him, very close to him, has passed away. He comes back and tells me. Right away, I felt awkward because I don't know what to say. I've never gone through this. So I asked God under my breath, God, help me help this young person. And God just told me to listen. And I asked him about this person, and he talked about her and how much she meant to him and how she had an impact on his life. And I just sat and I listened and I spent time with this kid. And you know what? I don't know if that kid remembers that moment, but I do. I remember that moment as a great moment in my life because God helped me help somebody else. Did I look at that camp as a moment where I'm going to help a grieving young person? No, I didn't, but I went there with my heart open. And yes, I had to overcome failure in my life to get to that camp, and I even failed at that camp, but I kept going. And I look back at that and say, wow, what a great moment I got to experience. You know, in my life, I've accomplished a few things, and I'm going to share them with you, but not self-indulgently. I want to share with you who helped me accomplish these things. There's 7 things in my life that I'm going to share with you. First of all, I graduated from high school. And I could think of a number of people, but one of the people I want to mention is Alan Anderson. I spent 75% of my time in the music room with Alan Anderson, Mr. Anderson. He was kind, he was often gracious, he was funny. Yeah, sometimes he was perturbed with me, but the truth is I was a fool in school. I was the class clown, and I was always trying to draw attention to myself. Kind of sad when I think about it, but Alan Anderson put up with me, gave me encouraging comments. I think he realized I lived below my potential, but he put up with me year after year and helped me press on, and I appreciate him. You know, I got a driver's license at the age of 16, and I didn't do that just on my own. Sure, my mom helped me, my dad helped me, but here's another person who helped me, Verna Eldred. Verna Eldred taught me in her silver Honda Civic how to shift gears, and then how to shift gears on a hill. Now that's a bit of an accomplishment for people, right? Verna Eldred, appreciate her to this day. Music college. My dad said to me, James, we've saved enough money for you after high school to go to a college for 1 year. That's all the money we have. So I said, well, I'm going to go to Vancouver Community College and I'm going to study music. And so I did. And you know, to this day, the theory I learned there, I still use in my songwriting, and I help other people learn music because of the theory instruction I had at music college. Thank you, Dad. He's with the Lord now. My Bachelor of Theology, hey, I had faith that there was a calling on my life to go to Bible school and to be a minister, but I didn't have finances. But there was a divine intersection where my faith met my Nana's finances. My mom's mom came alongside and paid for all my college. Wow, what an amazing thing. And she's also with the Lord now, and I appreciate her paying for all my theology degree. I recorded an album in 2012 entitled Restored. Yeah, I put a lot of hard work into that. I put a lot of sweat equity into it. But you know, there's 2 people who I want to shout out. Steve and Desiree Martins. They were my neighbors. I would write these songs, I would record these rough demos, and I'd bring them over to their house in the evening, and they would listen with full intent, fully engaged, encouraging me and giving me insightful comments, especially Steve Martins. He's a great musician on his own, and he gave me these great comments that sent me back to the studio where I would edit my songs. I'd take his advice, and you know, I think they turned out great, and you can hear that album Restored on iTunes. My second album I recorded in November of 2020, it's entitled Refreshed. And I did that with the help of a prayer team. When I went into the studio, I let this prayer team know, made up of made up of my family and friends, and they would pray for me when I was in the studio so that I could accomplish what God put in my heart to do. Wow, I'm so blessed by them. And lastly, I live a debt-free life. I'm not bragging to you about me. I'm bragging about my mom and my aunt, who inspired me to think differently about money, to get out of debt, and to stop spending like I had money growing out of my ears. You know, I was very poor with finances, but that has changed, and now I am debt-free. I live debt-free, and I'm so blessed to tell you that. I want to encourage you with a Bible verse, Ephesians 2:10. It says this, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which he prepared in advance for us to do." Do you know that you could be one of those people that divinely intersects another person's life? Oh, sure, you might have a great calling on your life. You might have a great career, and maybe you'll impact a lot of people. But let me encourage you that there's going to be a lot of moments in your life where you're going to speak into somebody's life. You're going to encourage somebody. You're going to help somebody financially. You're going to feed somebody. Your skills are going to be used to help their life or help their career, or maybe help them come to know Jesus Christ. Wow, there are great moments ahead of you that you can't even plan, but God can. And I want to suggest something to you, just like in Abraham Lincoln's life, that greatness is not merely in you, greatness is over you. God wants to use your life in his plan for the human race. He wants to use you to intersect somebody else's life, to bless them, to encourage them, and to lead them to him. I want to thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you are encouraged to get back up, because listen, every day you wake up with breath in your body, you wake up with purpose in your life. Thank you so much for watching.